Hello and welcome to Made with Love by Sarah. There we are. Hello and welcome to Made with Love by Sarah. So today we're going to make two different cards but with very different results. Let me just pop on Facebook. Technical issue. Paul, I can't see my screen.
You expand video.
I expand video. Bear with me a second.
Switch.
Hello. Hi, Michaela. Oh, that's better. I can now see chats and comments.
How's the sound?
Michaela, how's the sound doing? Oh, that's better. That's the screen I want. How's the sound, Michaela? Sounds fine. Good. So, today we are going to use Say It With Flowers. And just bear with me a second. I'm going to pop YouTube on and see if I can see any comments on there. There we go. So I'm all set up now. Only 2 minutes it took us. We're going to use the embossing folder and we're going to use the stencils. So has everybody had a good day? Hi Paul. So I don't know if this Monday night video is going to work. But let's see. I didn't have a video for tonight anyway, so I thought I might as well make it on Monday night. So this is the equipment we're going to use. So I'll just show you the embossing folder and the stencils. They're a bit dyed, but never mind. So I'll show you the first card that we're going to make. I've got everything ready here. So this is the card we're going to make. And it's got vellum on top. So we're going to emboss and colour some vellum. Let's just see if anybody else is going to join. I'll put that to one side and let's get started. So I'm going to get my Gemini MIDI machine. Let's take that tape off. I'll put that there so you can see what's happening. First of all, we need to emboss the vellum. I did one earlier and it didn't do very deep embossing, so I'm going to pop a bit of card, an extra card shim in this time and see what happens. So with an embossing folder you have a deboss and an emboss side. So one bumps go down and one bumps stick out in English easy terms. So on the side that goes down we're going to pop in our vellum. So it's just the normal vellum, same as I made the cards from last week. I've been playing with vellum a lot because I've only just bought it and I'm new to playing with vellum, so sometimes it goes right, sometimes it goes wrong. So I'm just going to pop this scrap card on top just to give it a bit more pressure, and hopefully the embossing will come out deep enough. So let's just put that to one side because we need it again for the next card. Because we're using the same equipment to make two different cards. And there we have our dry embossed vellum. Have you had a good day at work, Michaela? So again, I'll pop that to one side because we need it again. So now we're going to stencil the colour on the top. Now with these stencils, there's all different stencils for different bits. So what I've done is I've used a Sharpie and I've written in the corners what order that I need to do them in. So we're going to start with number 1. Oh, 4's just slipped out there. So I'm going to stick number 1 on top, and with the embossing detail the stencils match perfectly. So you put the stencil on the top to match with the embossing detail. If I put a piece of scrap paper underneath, you might see it a bit better. No, I think that's worse. So let's get rid of that paper. I'm going to use some low tack tape to hold the stencil in place. I'll just line it up again. Can you see how I'm lining it up? So that's where it needs to be. And I'm going to stick both layers to my desk so that nothing can move. So I'm using these inks today. I am using pearlescent pigment. So I'm using Queen Bee, Amethyst, Peach Rose and Frosty Mint, all by Spectrum Noir. And I have these blending brushes. Michaela, I think you bought me that egg cup. So I'm going to take, I keep these blending brushes in the bags that they come in because there's no need to wash the brushes unless you're going to use them with a different colour. So I'll just get them all out of the bags ready. And you use one brush for each colour family. So with this first stencil, we're going to do the leaves. So I'm going to use the Frosty Mint. So you load up your blending brush with ink, and I'm just going to very gently, I don't want to rub too hard, I'm just going to very gently push it into the nooks and crannies of the stencil, but without too much pressure. Pop the blending brush in the ink again and just load it up, and I'm doing slow circle moves just to get in the nooks and crannies. It's very easy to do. Michaela, when are you going to come and make a video with me? I think you should. So I think that's all covered. So I'm just going to pop that brush in the egg cup just down there. I didn't get my wipes out. And each time you take a stencil off the card, when you finish with your stencil, I'm going to reuse this tape, so I'll just stick it on my hand. I might not reuse that one, I've ripped it. I'll still be able to use it. So I'm going to pop the lid back on my ink. I'm just going to give the stencil a quick wipe. And what you can do afterwards is just get a bath, like a washing up bowl of water, and just wash them with soapy water. But for now I'm just going to wipe with a baby wipe, and I'll pop that up there. So that was number 1. So we now need number 2. And what I've done so that I know which is the top, I've got the number in the top, and I've also snipped off the corner, because otherwise you'd be where does this go? Oh, I don't know where it goes. So now I've got an idea that this is the top, so I need to make it fit with that at the top. So I'm going to line that up as before and just stick it to the vellum. So now we've got the middle of that flower and this leaf down here. With this leaf, I want the stems to be green, so back to our green blending brush, and I'm just going to gently rub it without trying not to get it on the flowers, because I want the flowers purple. So that's enough for that. So now we're going to go to purple amethyst for our little flowers with the purple blending brush. And I'm just going to gently circle where the flower heads are. Anytime, mate, come on, we'll make a video together. So I'm just going to pop that amethyst to one side for the moment. I do need it again, but that's on a different stencil. So this colour I'm going in for peach rose. So I'm just going to load up my brush again and gently just making sure I go in the circle. And that's that stencil done. I'm just going to gently rip this off. Stick the tape onto my hand and just give it a quick wipe, because I am using it again. So now we need number 3. So again, I've chopped off the top corner and I've labelled it with number 3. So I know that this goes this way up. So again, I'm just lining up my stencil and I'm going to tape it down. This stencil, we need 3 different colours, so I'll go back in with my peach rose and do the other centre and pop the lid on. We've finished that one now, we don't need that one again. I'm now going to come in with the queen bee. Again, I've got a yellow. And what I tried to do is make the brush match the ink colour. Now with this stencil, this middle bit, it's a little bit, it can move. So I'm just going from the inside out, so try not to disturb that little centre piece. I'll show you that in a minute. It's quite flimsy. And not only that, if there's any ink, orange, the middle, whatever that was called, peach rose, I'm blending it into the flower as well. So that'll do for that. We now need the purple for this. So as long as you fill in all the holes, then you're going to end up with a finished product at the end. So that's that. Let's again take this stencil off. So you don't even have to think about it really, you just have to decide what colours you're using. That's the hardest bit about this. You see that is just held on by a tiny, tiny piece. So that's why it moves, and you just have to be a little bit mindful that it's going to move. So that was number 3. Number 4 is only a little one, but I cut the wrong corner off when I was doing it. So this one, I'm not going to bother taping this one down because it's just one flower and I can just hold it. So I'm lining it up. There will do. Load up my brush. And as easy as that. And last one is number 5. So I know that this flower's this one and this flower's this one, so I'm just lining it up together. I'll do the purple one. Whoops. Let's move them out of the way. Put the lid on the purple. And back to the queen bee. Because there's no hole in the middle to cover up that, again I'm just going to be careful going round. But if you do blend it in a little bit, it doesn't matter, it just blends into the flower. And there we have our colouring finished. Let's just give that a little wipe. Quite flimsy, these stencils. And that's ready for that. I'm going to get rid of this white because it's a bit grimy. Put the lid on the ink to avoid any accidents. And there's our finished vellum. So now we just need to make it into a card. So I've got this card blank. Let me move my bags out of the way. I'll tell you the measurements. They are 10 inches by 7, and I've scored down the 5-inch line, fold it and burnish. I've made the vellum so it's a little bit longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over. Because vellum's so quite flimsy, it might still be wet, so I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to stick down the top and the bottom and I'm going to put glue on just on the back, and then I'll get the guillotine in and chop the sides off. So I'm just folding that over. I'm going to get my bone folder and squash that down. But again, it doesn't matter too much because it's going to be on the back. So again, just a little bead of glue all the way down. I'm just going to get my nail underneath and fold it over. And then it's stuck on the front, but you can't see. Remember when I was saying on Friday about you can see the glue through vellum? With this method, you can't see the glue through, it's hidden. So I'm just going to chop. I've got to be careful because the ink's still wet. So I'm just going to chop along the vellum just to neaten up the edges. Turn it round. I don't really want to cut any off the cardstock because I made that the right size. Just another little slither. And there we have our finished card front. And now we just need to stick this. Let's get rid of the rubbish. Because we've got card behind the vellum, we won't see any glue through, so we can just pop Collal all-purpose glue all over the back. And I was in Hobbycraft at the weekend and I found some Collal all-purpose glue in Hobbycraft. Wasn't a very big bottle, but I didn't know you could get it from Hobbycraft, so that was a good find. So I'm just going to stick that down, centering it as much as possible, as close as I can. And I'm not going to put a sentiment on it because I don't know what reason. I don't know for what reason I'm making it. So there's our finished card. I'll put on a sentiment when I know where it's going and for what reason, but it could be any occasion, this card. So there's card number 1 finished. Just pop them behind me. Now let's move on to card number 2. So we're going to do exactly the same thing with the embossing folder, but we're going to be making this card. So it's quite 3D cards, popped up on foam at different layers, and I think that looks quite pretty. So I'll show you how I did this. So we need the embossing folder again, exactly the same thing as the vellum, apart from with the card, and it's a 3D embossing folder, and you know that because it says on the packet 3D embossing folders are deeper than your normal 2D embossing folder. So because it's a 3D embossing folder, I'm just going to hold my water up high and just spritz the paper with a little tiny mist of water. Pop that in the folder. Bring in my Gemini MIDI again. But you can do this through any die cutting machine. And again, I'm going to put my scrap card on top. and take it through the machine. Let's get rid of that because we're finished. And this, we're finished with that now. This is what you end up with. Can you see all the embossing detail on it? It's lovely. So very quickly again, we're just going to start off with number 1. Number 1, load up the green. I'm just going to hold it on because I'm confident that I can hold it on. If you don't feel confident, then stick it down with tape. But I'm just going to real quick fill in these holes and get it coloured in. Just because I'm spoiled. I am spoiled, Michaela. I'm very spoiled. So there is the green. I need that green again, don't I? I'll wash it again after. What comes after number 1? We'll go for number 2. And the green again, I'm just going to pop a bit of colour at the bottom and bring in the peach rose for the middle. Let's go for number 3. So I need the peach rose in the middle. See how that's moved again? It's perfectly lined up, but the middle moved. Let's go for a bit of queen bee. Again, being very careful around the centerpiece. And I'm also being careful not to go past the top of the stencil and get colour where I don't want it. Let's bring in the purple. You can blend with these inks as well, so you can do quite a lot with these inks. They're pearlescent, so they're quite pretty. And when they're dry, they just shine beautiful. You can see how long it takes. It's very quick to do, very easy. So again, I just need to be very careful going around the circle. And then just fill in the edges. And that's that. So we're finished with the inks now. I need to pop the bags back on them and put them away. I'll just have a drink. Oh. Let's get rid of the inks out of the way. So, what do I need to do now? Right, so now I've got my normal folder for the MIDI, and I'm going to cut out some shapes. So So these are oval nesting dies. They've got a nice stitched edge detail to them. And I'm just gonna decide where I want my first circle to be. Oh, I missed off the flowers there. Oh no, I missed some. Let's just colour, give them a bit of colour. That's better. So I just need to decide where I want my first circle to be. It doesn't have to be straight up and down, but it can be anywhere you want it to be. And I want that to be the first one. So with these, let me get them. So there's a lot of these oval dies, and I've got the smallest, the third, the smallest, the third, the fifth and the seventh out of that pack. I got these from Positively Papercraft. And then I'm just going to line up the next ones, centering them as much as I possibly can. And then I'm just going to stick them down. I should have left this a bit to dry, but never mind. So I'm just going to pop some more tape on. What have you had for tea, Mick? I'll bring in my Gemini machine again and pop that through. And now we've just made that lovely picture and cut it into pieces. But never mind. Now gently take the tape off. That's bringing ink off as well because it's not dry yet properly. But for demonstration purposes, we'll carry on. Gently taking the tape off. Get rid of that. Oh, just drop my dies on the floor. So we don't need the outside. Let's get rid of them. Don't need them again. So now we end up with these pieces. We don't need that. So I'm going to get my card put together. So this card measures 5 1/4. So that was 10.5, scored 10.5 long, scored at 5 1/4, and this is 6.5 deep. This purple layer is 6 1/4 by 5, and I'm just going to round the corners. I've already done the card base. Well, I didn't, because it was folded. I had to get Paul to do it because I wasn't strong enough. So let's get this stuck on, and then we know where we need to build the card from. So I'm using the same colours, same card, vellum instead of using one with vellum and one with card to get two different results. So with the biggest one, I'm going to start with the biggest one. I'm just going to pop this foam tape all the way. No, I'm not. No, this one gets glued on. So let's glue this one on. So this outside one is flat. So I'm just going to stick that, looking at that gap there, that gap there, that gap there, and that gap there, left and right. Oh, nice. Carpet picnic. So then the next one, I'm just going to put one layer of foam tape on. And I'm using this thin foam tape. I think I got it from, oh well, I think Paul got it from Amazon, this one. And this is the thinnest foam tape you can get, and this measures 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to pull off the backing. Making sure this is lined up. That was upside down. So I'm looking at this flower and this flower, and this flower and that flower, to make sure that I get it the right way up and in the right place. So I reckon about there will do. So on this next circle we need to make it a little bit higher. So I'm going to put 2 layers of foam tape on. So to do that, I'm going to put one on, take off the sticky. I've got ink all over my fingers because it's not dry. Pull off all that sticky. And instead of going round with another layer, I'm just going to cut some pieces off, because when I made the first one, this is how I found it to be the easiest. So I'm just cutting pieces and sticking it on top so it's double layer. Just going to cut a small piece for the bottom and a small piece for the top. Then that makes this layer higher than the last layer. To get the backing off, you can either pull it off with your fingers, or you can use your pokey tool just to help you. So again, I'm looking for the purple, so that goes with that flower. So I'm just going to pop that there, so that's a bit higher. So this one needs to be even higher. Because this is a bit bigger, I'm going to use this wider tape, but I'm just going to snip off the corners to make it fit nice on the middle bit, let's call it. So how many layers do we need for this to make it higher? You end up getting in a right sticky mess. In between each layer we need to take off the backing paper to stick the next layer to. rubbish in a second. And I think that's upside down, but I think yeah, I think that's no. Because I didn't press it down, I can just pull it up. I think because this foam tape is thinner than this tape, I had to put 4 on. So last one. Put that on. And centre it as near as possible. Let me just get rid of this rubbish. And these, where's my other card gone? I lost my other card. Oh, see ya. So I just need to put some gems on. So I'll get my poker tool. I just felt, when I was making this one, I just felt it needed a little bit of something. So I'm just popping some gems on. I just need a tiny blob of glue where I'm going to pop the gems. These I've got glue on the back, but I find if you don't glue them, they can just pop off. And then by the time it gets to where it's going, they've got one missing, or it's moved or something. So it's worth it just for the extra second it takes just to pop a little bit of glue on. And especially with it being pearlised card as well, just needs a little bit of help to stick. Put the glue back on. One, two. Oh, lost it. My gems are misbehaving tonight. Three what, mate? 3 gems. So that's, look, my gems are falling off. So that is our finished project for tonight. That's the one I'd already made. This is the one using vellum, and as you can see, 2 different cards using the same techniques, the same stencils and same embossing folder. So which card do you like best? Oh, you asked how many layers of tape. There must be a delay going on. Oh, yeah, okay. So which card do you like best? I like this one. Which do you like, Paul? This one. Card number 2. This one, Michaela. Card number 2. Okie dokie. So there's our project for this evening. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you've seen, give us a thumbs up and think about subscribing to my channel. It I do appreciate it. Gets me all excited when somebody else subscribes. And ring the bell, and then you'll get notified every time I put out a video. And that's me for tonight. I will see you on Friday for the next live. I'll have to come up with another project, probably including vellum again. Yes, ring the bell. Ring the bell, Michaela, and you will get notified every time I put a video out. I love you very much. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.